Hi, everyone. Wait, who do I mean by everyone? Hmm, exactly. All of you who are watching the video. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. The title of this week's content is, Did you forget something? In this video, we will talk about how we refer to things without saying exactly what they are. We will also talk about how to refer to people without saying exactly who they are, all while we talk a little bit about travel. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to read some example sentences, and as I read, pay attention to the highlighted words. What kind of information are we getting or giving when we hear or say these words that you see highlighted? I love visiting Seattle. There's always something to do there. Something. Okay. The city has everything. Great food, shops, parks, and museums. Everything. What does the city have? Although it's a close drive from Seattle, I don't know anything about Vancouver. Do you know anything about Vancouver? So we have two words that are highlighted in each of these sentences. One of them is don't, do not, so that's negative. And the other one is the question word do. But they both have anything in them. So let's think about that for a little while. Let's see a couple more examples. Something that Seattle and Vancouver have in common is all the rain they get. So what is something that they have in common? Yeah, exactly, all the rain. I know nothing about the city's history though, so doing a walking tour would be great. Nothing. What do they know about the city's history? Okay. Now let's look at these a little bit more closely. So these words, anything, nothing, something, and everything, they're called indefinite pronouns. But it doesn't really matter what they're called because we use these all the time. And I'm sure that you use these all the time in everyday conversation. But what's the difference between them? Well, they are all used to refer to things that are not specific or that are not known. So we either use them because we don't know exactly what we're referring to, or we do know it, but they're in our head and we've probably said it already in conversation. So when we use them in context, we don't have to constantly repeat and when we refer to things that we've already said. So we use these words instead. When anything, nothing, something, and everything are the subject, we only use the singular form. So that's easy that we don't have to change it ever. Let's look a little bit more at each one of these. So something, everything, and nothing. We can use them in sentences, but with nothing, it has a negative meaning. For example, she knows nothing about Vancouver. What does she know about Vancouver? Exactly, nothing. So it has a negative meaning. So because it has a negative meaning, we do not need to use another negative word in the sentence. For example, we do not need to say, she doesn't know nothing about Vancouver. Doesn't is negative and nothing is already negative. So we don't need doesn't. Rather, we can just say she knows nothing about Vancouver. Okay. What about anything? So anything should be used in negative statements. So we don't see anything there. There isn't anything there. So we have don't, do not, and isn't, is not. So when we have a negative word already in the sentence, instead of using nothing, we can use anything. Okay. What about something, anything, and everything? Would you like something to eat? Is there anything down the street? Is everything closed? So we have three different words, and they have different meanings in these sentences. But what do these three examples all have in common? Yes, they're all questions. So these words we often use when we're asking questions. And here's an extra speaking tip. So we do have another meaning of something that we only use in conversation. We only use when we speak. We don't use this meaning when we're writing. But often we use something to refer to another possibility. For example, maybe we will stop for lunch or something if it doesn't get too late. So that something is saying, lunch or an alternative to lunch, another possibility to lunch. So think about other ways that we use something when we're talking. Maybe something you've heard, just like how I just said something. And we'll talk more about that this week in class. Let's look at a few more examples of some similar words, but slightly different. I'm traveling to visit someone in Boise. I've never been, but everyone I've talked to says it's a great city. Someone in Boise, one person, okay. Everyone I've talked to says it's a great city. Who says it's a great city? Exactly, all of the people that I've talked to about Boise. Okay. Does anyone here know how to get to Monterey Park? I don't know anybody from the area. So we have similar words here that are highlighted, anyone and anybody. But one of them is in a question. We have the question word does. And the other one is in a negative sentence. I don't know anybody from the area. So let's think about that a little more. Let's look at a couple last more examples. No one is available to take your call right now. Everyone is at the staff meeting. Can you call back later? You can also leave a message and somebody will get back to you as soon as possible. So we have no one, everyone, and somebody. So the first one, no one is available to take your call right now. Who's available to take the call right now? No one. Exactly. It has a negative meaning. Everyone is at the staff meeting. Who's at the staff meeting? Exactly. All of the people. And then we have somebody. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I don't know specifically who will get back to you, but somebody, a person will. So what's the rule here? So these are also indefinite pronouns that we use all the time, such as no one, nobody, someone, somebody, everyone, everybody, anyone, anybody. And we use these to refer to people that are not specific or are not known. So it's similar to the previous examples that we saw, nothing, anything, something, and everything, but those we talk about things. For these examples or these words, we're talking about people that are not specific or that are not known. And they are always singular, just like the previous examples. So let's look at the difference between them, though, a little more closely. So no one, nobody, someone, somebody, and everyone, everybody, we can use them in similar sentences, but no one and nobody have a negative meaning, just like nothing. There's no one in the restaurant. Who's in the restaurant? no one. So for these, for the use of no one and nobody, just like nothing, we do not need another negative word in the sentence or in the question, or in the sentence actually, because anyone and anybody we use instead with negative statements. I didn't see anybody there. There isn't anyone at the ticket counter. So we don't have to say I didn't see no one there, even though the meaning is similar. Since we have didn't, we use anybody because it's negative. What about these last examples? Is there anybody in the store? Can everyone hear me? Are you waiting for someone? So what's similar between these three examples? Exactly, they're all questions. So we can use any of these three to ask questions. Okay, enough of all this stuff. And now it's your turn to try it at work. So on Padlet, use these words that we've talked about: anything, nothing, something, everything, and no one, nobody, someone, somebody, everyone, everybody, or anyone, anybody, to describe two people you work with and two things you do every day when you get to the job site. So for example, someone I usually eat lunch with is Joe or Tony. Okay. Everyone on the team likes to tease Joe because he eats the same thing every day. Who likes to tease Joe? Who's everyone? Exactly, all of the people on the team. Something I always do is check that my power tools are working properly and that the batteries are fully charged. This is something that I always do every day when I get to the job site. So now you give it a try. On Padlet, create a post or comment on the Try It at Work section and tell us two people you work with and two things you do every day when you get to the job site. Okay, until then, take care, everyone.